A book can take you anywhere. Turn the pages and you'll be there. Come on, join us, you'll see. We're reading with Carylee.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Read with Carylee show at home. And we have been expanding our horizons here and going around the globe and around the United States to find authors to bring to you. So today we have Miss Erin Rounds, and she will be reading Ito. Now, before we get started, Erin, could you let us know where you are reading to us from today?
Sure. So I am up north of you guys. I'm up in Vermont.
Oh, awesome. So we are going up higher into the United States, and we are so glad to have you. And this is actually our first bilingual book. So I'm very happy to have you here and happy to have you read this book for us. So I'm going to turn it over to you so that we can get into the story. Welcome, Miss Erin Rounds.
Thank you very much. So this is the story of Ito and his sister Mana. And I just wanted to start off with a quote we have on our back cover from Albert Einstein. Look deep into nature, and then you will understand everything better. To Ito, everything looked big. He gazed up at the mundo with big bright ojos, and smiled wide, his joyous grin spreading across his round cara. Mana, what's dat? He would ask his older sister, who seemed to always know everything. Ito es un, she would answer, and he would repeat. Es el mar, the sea, and they walked hand in hand through the sand. Es un arco iris, a rainbow, and they memorized the colors to use in their drawings. Son las montañas, the mountains, and they breathed deeply the fresh air, filling their hearts with peace. Es una constelación, a constellation, and they made a wish together on a shooting star. It's so grande, Ito would exclaim, and I'm so pequeño. Then Ito's sister started to point out things that he had to get down, real low, and peer at, like he was using a microscope. Es un hormiguero, an anthill, and they watched the lines of workers hurrying about. Es un hongo, a mushroom, and they studied its shape and lines, knowing not to pick or eat it. Es una rosa, a rose, and they inhaled the sweet scent. Es un escarabajo, a beetle, and they rejoiced in the way a shiny jewel seemed to mosey along. Ito and Mana sat in the sol and watched the mariposas fluttering and abejas buzzing to all the flores in the garden. What's dat? Ito asked, pointing to a round brown acorn that had just fallen from its tree. Esa es una bellota. Shh, mira, Mana whispered, as she pointed into the bosque. Slowly, an ardilla scampered through the crunchy leaves and tucked the nut neatly into its cheek. Ito suddenly felt big as he observed all the vida much smaller than him bustling below his pies. His big ojos sparkled brighter, and he smiled a wide, joyous grin as he walked just un poquito más alto. The end.
That was definitely a lovely story, and it gives readers the ability to be able to know exactly what you're talking about, and so that they could actually learn Spanish. You know, that's a very good tool, and that's one of the first books that I've actually seen written like that. So what inspired you to write this book?
So, my husband grew up in Puerto Rico, and he
Okay.
was he was telling our children a bedtime story, a childhood story of his, and it was from his childhood. So all of his friends had ito on the ending. So ito is like the diminutive of when something is small, but it's also when you really, care about something, or you're
Okay.
talking about a little boy or a little girl. So his story was, Papito and Carlito and Wilito, and just it
Oh.
all of a sudden gave me this idea of like, anything that's little and loved. So that's where the main character gets his name from, and how he feels so small in his great big world at first. So that's where the story idea came from.
Oh, well, that's amazing. And I'm so glad that you were able to, put that together and show that that was, about someone that's cared for and loved. I've often, I actually grew up in Brooklyn, so I've often heard the Carlito and Papito, and I actually never knew that. So that is definitely something that I've learned today, and
So
what
anytime you
I'm
put
on.
something on the so like a dog, like perrito is a puppy, and then
Okay.
gatita with an A on the ending because gata cat is a feminine ending. So gatita and perrito, kitty cat and little puppy.
Wow. So we're getting a Spanish lesson here
There you go.
today on the Read with Carolee show. And I love this book and, being able to have that bilingual connection and, little kids can actually learn Spanish through this. Because even as you were reading it, I can definitely, we see the pictures so we can see exactly what these things are, and be able to have children recognize that. So that is a very inventive and a great way to teach children Spanish. Thank you for that. So, what we always ask our authors, what books or book did you get inspired by when you were growing up?
Yeah, it's hard to really pinpoint one, but I did do some thinking, and I have a book that was mine that's on my daughter's bookshelf now that I
Okay.
remember. It's well worn and tattered.
Mm,
It didn't help that it was, a paperback, but
okay.
I remember reading it a number of times, and my mother first reading it to me. It's called At This Very Minute, and it's all
Okay.
about a little girl being put to bed and thinking about other places in the country and other places in the world, other
Mhm.
cultures, other families, and at this very minute where you are, what else is going on in the world and
Yes.
whatever in it. Looking back through it now as an adult, as a teacher, I'm just struck by I think how much it influenced me without me knowing it in my
Yes.
life and where it led me. But it just, as a little girl growing up in Vermont, which doesn't have a whole lot of diversity, I think it was sort of my first window into what else was out there.
That is great, and it's definitely even a book that children would really love now, because even though they may be at home or they can't go too far right now, don't they can't even go to their school buildings right now. They can think about what's going on at this very minute, with their friends or neighbors or even their teachers. So thank you for sharing that. And as that book has gone down from you to your daughter, we hope that Ito will be one of those collections that children pass on to the children that hear today, pass on to their children as well. And Miss Erin Rounds, we thank you so much for joining us on the Read with Carolee show from Vermont.
Thank you so much
And
for having me.
yes, thank you. So we will continue to expand our horizons here at the Read with Carolee show and bring you another great author from around our globe. So thank you again for joining us. And remember to always grab a book and read. Have a great day.
We're reading with Carylee. We're reading with Carylee.
Thanks for watching another amazing episode of the Read with Carylee show. We have amazing authors coming by every week. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe below. You don't want to miss a thing.